Yeah. So why don't we each kind of say how our sleep is going, so we kind of have a baseline to work from. So I'll start out. Um, how is my sleep going? Good. My sleep's going well, actually. I have a very interesting story to tell. So I came to Minnesota to see my family for Christmas. I flew in on the 24th. My plane got to the airport around 8 o'clock. And so then I got to my sister's house around 9:30. But that wasn't going to be where I was going to sleep. So I stayed talking with them for like a few hours. And so then they took me to where I was going to stay, and it was like about midnight. And so then, anyway, the point is, I got into my room at 2 a.m. And then I just wasn't even like that tired, or at least sleepy. And so I just started watching something on my computer. And the long story short is, I just stayed up the whole night. I didn't get any sleep at all. And the next day I was just like totally fine. I mean, toward the evening I was a little dropping off a little, but I was just, my energy was just like this. Good, generally speaking. I wasn't like just completely shot and wasted like I could have been in the past. And so essentially what seems to have happened is I started this particular run of Kundalini Yoga in August, but then I started really getting serious about it about 60 days ago. And some really significant and remarkable things have happened with my system and my energy, which is that my food intake has dropped by about 1/2 to 2/3 spontaneously, but I have as much energy as I used to have. And because I used to eat just vast quantities of food. I mean, I'm very, very thin person, but I could eat like 2 or 3 entrees in one meal. I mean, I eat basically like about 2.5 times as much as my wife does, and I don't really gain any weight. But that has had a significant change. And then, so to try to kind of cut this short, based on my reactions with myself, my diet, my sleeping, it seems like there's just been somehow a shift of emphasis inside my system away from the physical and onto the energetic. And I seem to be running more on energy, prana or chi, so to speak, than more on sleep and food. And I'm still, really watching my sleep and really watching my diet. That was an exception to stay up all night. But like my emotions are so much more even, and I'm just not affected by. The weird thing is, it's like people have talked about in these different locations, and I'm in location, I don't know what, and I don't care what, but what has happened is that the emotions still happen, but I don't care about them very much. That's the difference. Like, it's not like they're gone, but it's like they don't really control me anymore. It's just like, oh yeah, whatever. I mean, I still feel like an upset, but then its import is so much less that it's like, it's just something that's happening, not something that is taking me over. And it's a weird way to talk about it, but so anyway, that's what's happening with me, and things have just changed on a very deep level. So I'm feeling that it's the kind of person I am is, when something is working, then it's like I try to drop a brick on the gas pedal of that. It's like, okay, let's go crazy now into this. All right. So that's kind of what this is all about for me. And yeah, so I'd like to hear kind of like where you guys are with sleep and what is happening with you, just, a minute or two about what your current situation is. Stefan, do you want to tell us a few things?
Yeah, sleep. I mean, I had the last couple of days I was waking up earlier, and for me it's more about because I've been in the last meetup where you shared a couple of Kriya techniques that worked exceptionally well for me, and so I was trying. I thought, it might. I really want to see what else you have there. So for me, I think I still have, a couple of blockages wherever they are, chakra or in the energy system, that there's still something stuck. And the German weather, I mean, it's kind of gray, and I'm taking vitamin D and stuff, but it's still I really want to explore more. It's not specifically about sleep, but just in general. When you were saying about increased energy, that's definitely something that really interests me, and I would like to increase my energy. And with that, I think there comes the motivation and stuff. And so it's not necessarily about sleep, although I think sleep probably has something to do with it. But yeah, it's energy. That's the thing for me.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. John, you want to give us a quick overview?
Yeah, I've been doing the Banda career now. As I mentioned last week, I'm still my consciously or physically, I'm still sort of wrestling with it a little bit. But I can see that dropping away a little. So I'm going to keep at it. I'm forgetting the count. I'm getting, I'm sort of like, feeling aches and pains in places, and I'm, forgetting to breathe properly, and all sorts of stupid stuff, which is getting in the way of it. But as I say, that's improving. My sleep is still not great. I'm getting about. I've just looked at my my trends for my Aura ring, and I'm getting about half an hour's deep sleep on average. Sometimes as little as 10 minutes, sometimes an hour and 10 minutes. The average is around 30. And I, as I mentioned last week, I believe maybe what it should be is over an hour, maybe an hour and a half is what people should be getting. So when I wake up, I don't feel that refreshed and sort of like, great, I slept really well. I've had a few nights over the last month of that, but in general, it's not.
Okay. Well, if you'd like a recommendation, it would be to consider checking the sleep stats from the Aura Ring less often.
Yeah.
Because it can really, insomnia has a way of really effing with your head.
Yeah.
And am I getting enough sleep, and am I asleep, and what happened? All that is a whirlpool.
Yeah.
It can really mess with you. So it's like, okay, I got to get to sleep, but I know I haven't been sleeping very well, and it can really become its own thing.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for your rendition. Fran, you want to say a few words about how it's going for you?
Yeah. As I said last time, I've been taking sleep medication for several years. John just reminded me that I'd used a Fitbit for 3 or 4 weeks or so, specifically to look at the sleep dynamics, and was pleased to see, at least in terms of their metrics of what's normal for men, that I was fine in terms of the amount of time spent in different phases of sleep. I generally wake up after about 6 or 7 hours, and occasionally not as much, but mostly that's a pretty good pattern. And letting the mind come awake, something that I'd like to do or whatever is what kind of launches me out of bed. I might stay in bed for a while, depending on the day and circumstances, but usually get up and am ready to go. It's been quite a while since I've been kind of worried or preoccupied with, oh, I wish I got enough sleep, or maybe, and sort of the complaining about it. And that was a relief to just kind of take it as it comes and not make a big story about it. I do take, I almost always take a nap in the afternoon. I'll attribute that to aging for now. And I can lay down for 45, 50 minutes and either fall asleep or at least rest deeply and always feel better afterwards. That's about it.
Thank you. All right, Janine, anything you want to throw in there?
Well, as I said, I was looking forward to this because I can use tips, whatever kind of helpful information. I guess I always had trouble sleeping. So throughout my childhood, I have some memories of having trouble sleeping. And I did the Finder's course just, at the beginning of the year. So I'm relatively new to it. And during that and kind of following that, I found that what helped me the most would be winding down in the evening, winding this mind down in the evening, not just going straight to bed, meditating for an hour and in the evening really helped, but doing it outside, kind of the spaciousness of the sky really, really helped me. And I wasn't having much trouble sleeping with that because of that. If I would do it, sometimes there'd be, activities or it started getting colder. So that would kind of take away from my good track record. And then before I signed up for Vortex in October, and like for the month and a half before, a solid month before, I slept really well. Didn't have to do the meditating. And I think it was the preliminaries of the process starting to work. And then and I took another Vortex in November, but just recently, the last 2 weeks, started having some 1 or 2 nights a week where I was having trouble sleeping because of not being able to meditate outside. It's 32 degrees or colder. So I started just walking now in the evenings, and that gives me that kind of spacious, gets out of my mind. But anyway, I'm looking forward to learning this stuff.
Okay, awesome. You bring up some good points. Helping people sleep in the past, I've often recommended at least 1 40-minute walk a day as a kind of a prerequisite to, if you're exercising already, then that, you don't need the walk. But if you're not exercising on a regular basis, then just at least moving the body can be a transformational experience. And yeah.
Well, when I discovered exercise a few decades ago, that changed everything for me, and I do exercise every day. But the walk is more to kind of clear my head. Mm-hmm. I should also add that I have chronic fatigue, and I do nap in the afternoon, like Fran, and it sure helps. But I set a timer for 30 minutes because I don't want to get too bogged down.
Well, I have good news for you. The core technique of this meetup is not the only one, but the core one is Kundalini Yoga, and that's really good for chronic fatigue. So should help a lot. So there's a tidbit I want to throw out and share with you right now.
We didn't hear Dominic.
Oh, he'd said his thing.
He did?
Yeah, I went first.
Oh, he did, didn't you?
Okay, I'll say something unrelated. John, your face is different. It's more relaxed. You do look a touch tired still, but like there's an edge of tension from the first time I saw you that's not there, and it's really great to see.
Yeah.
You're a very handsome young man. Oh, sorry, I forgot. We're supposed to be the same age. Okay, whatever. But really, like you really look different. And the other thing is like exactly what you said about starting this practice with. I do the same thing. I'm like 5, 6. Was that 5? Wait a minute. okay, how many? I forget. And you just start again. It's like that. It's hard to, sometimes we're trying to do it right, and then we forget to keep like a playful mind about it. It's like, oh, what the heck, start again. You know, nobody's keeping track on us. There's no Kundalini points. You don't lose points. It's not, you just like enjoy the practice if you can. Like what this thing is supposed, it's supposed to be something fun and good. Like, I forget, David will say what the thing is supposed to be, Wahe Guru. It means something like an exclamation. Like it's supposed to be like a fun, happy kind of thing. It's like, wow, I'm alive. You know, something like that. I don't really know. But it's like, so just like, that's the other thing. It sounds a lot like when people first start meditating and their body, you know, brings complaints to them to try and drag their attention away from the meditation, or like then they wonder if they're like doing it well enough or doing it right. Like you get that interior critic thing going, and it's just like, just play, just like I mean, I can see the effect. I'm taking it that this is the effect. This is just an impression. I don't know anything.
Great, thank you.
Okay, yeah. So thank you for that, Dominic and John. I just want to kind of reframe the not being able to count and the issues getting in the way. That's actually the process. That's processing you. So grinding through all that is what it is. So the fact that we can't count Wahe Guru in our mind 8 times with our eyes closed is the neurological adjustment that needs to be made, right? You know what I'm saying?
I sort of worked that out.
It's bringing us right to the point of where our system isn't quite balanced, and it's just right on that. So it's not getting in the way. That's what's supposed to happen. You know, I mean, if the Kriyas are like supremely easy, there are a few, but in general, if they're supremely easy and they're not pushing us through our junk, then they're not really doing very much. So real meditation is a slog often, you know. So that's because it's getting the garbage out. So then we get cleaned up. So I just want to quickly share with you guys the you've probably heard, or you might have heard of cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, which is CBT-I. There's a whole bunch of different books on it. This is probably the best one out there. So I just wanted to share the title of it with you. It's called Overcoming Insomnia, a Self-Help Guide, and it's by a real sleep expert. He's a university professor guy, Colin Espy, E-S-P-I. So I got that book, and it's a good one, and it may be helpful to you. So just quickly mention that. Okay, so let's get going on the techniques. So Kundalini Yoga, we always start with our tuning in. So the tuning in is putting our hands in this position, and we put the thumb in the notch of the sternum right here. So it's just kind of like a prayer position, and we're gonna recite a mantra, which I'm going to show you on the screen what it is. There it is. Okay, this one, right? This top one here. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo, and the Dev is pronounced Dave, like David. So it's Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. So we're going to do that 3 times. Okay, here we go. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Okay. So whenever we start the Kundalini Yoga practice, we always do this 3 times. And then there's a different mantra that we do at the end, which we'll go over when we're done. So we always kind of have this beginning and ending mantras. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of different techniques, as we call them, kriyas, for, sorry to be flipping back and forth here between the sharing, for sleep in Kundalini Yoga. But we are going, in this kind of meetup, I'm gonna establish right now that there are 3 of them that are the core techniques. And we can add all kinds of spices and toppings to them. And so those are Bandhana Kriya, Uni Kriya, and Shabad Kriya. And so for most people, I'm going to recommend that it's just like anything with the finder's course, you've got to find what works for you. But the ones I'm going to recommend that you start with is either Bandhana Kriya or Uni Kriya. If you want to, you can try them both and see which one works better for you. And then Shabad Kriya is also directly for sleep. The only reason I started with it, but the reason I'm not going to recommend that you start with it is because there is a certain percentage of people that it actually disturbs their sleep more for 3 to 5 weeks as it adjusts you and can give you different dreams and all kinds of stuff. Now, that did not happen with me, but it has happened with people in sleep studies. So just to avoid that, you can try it if you want to, but just to avoid that, you can start with one of these other 2, which are a bit gentler. And then after you've done a certain amount with them, if you want, you can switch over to Shabad Kriya, or just do whatever you want. But if you try Shabad Kriya and you start like having worse sleep, then you can switch over to one of the other 2. So that's kind of an overview of the main techniques, and we'll be adding different techniques to that. So let's go ahead and start a practice. Let's start with our Bandhana Kriya. Bandhana Kriya is very, very simple. The way it works is in Kundalini Yoga, posture is important, but what's more important than that is be practical for you. So there's a common posture we use, which is called easy pose, and that is sitting like this with your feet in front of you, not up on your legs like lotus or anything. But if that's too crazy or heavy, you can just sit cross-legged like this. Easy means that it's easy for you. Use a cushion under your butt for most people, unless your hips are really flexible. But if this isn't working, you can sit on the edge of your bed or in a chair with your feet flat on the floor. Just make sure that your spine is straight. That's the main thing in Kundalini Yoga, is that your spine be straight. And that's what's important. Okay, so our hand position is going to be the same one we just used to tune in, with our palms together. The difference is that we're going to really make sure that we don't have any gaps. So we don't want to be like this at all or have one finger apart like that. All the fingers are close together, and then put a little pressure to try to get as much of the surface of the palms and the fingers as touching as you can. Okay, this is just out of a scale of 1 to 10, the pressure is like 2 or 2.5. It's not much. It's gentle. It's not effort, but you're just trying to squeeze. If you just just put your hands together like that with no pressure, there's a lot of gaps. You can see those gaps there. So I'm pushing. Now the gaps are gone. That's the only difference. So this is like not pushing. That's pushing right there. So that you want that contact there. And then we're going to put it at the same place that we just put it for the opening mantra. All right. And all along with this posture, we're going to do something called tucking in the chin, which is just bring it in slightly like that. So from the side, it looks like this, just tucking the chin in a tiny bit like that. It's not bowing your head down, not putting it back. It's just a slight little tuck like that. And that has its own energetic results. I won't get into it. Our eye position is going to be having 2 qualities. One is that we are going to keep our eyes 9/10 closed, and then we're going to have our gaze be on the sides of the nose. And what this does is it locks it creates a focus in the frontal lobe, which is very important for the training of the brain and the mind. So that is the whole physical setup. And so then the way the practice works is that we're going to inhale fully, hold the breath, and mentally recite a mantra 8 times. And then we're going to exhale fully. We're going to hold the breath out and then recite the mantra 8 times. Same mantra. So what is the mantra? It's right here on this. I don't know if you can read it, but I'll just say it to you. It's got 3 parts. Wa, He, Guru. Okay, so Wahe is a mantra. Wahe means wow. or like amazement, or like, you know, just, yeah, like that. So that's wahe, but we're going to say it in two separate parts, which is, no, I'm sorry, not two separate parts. That's a different Kriya. Sorry. Okay, we're not separating wahe guru. So that's the mantra, wahe guru. So that is what you're going to mentally say to yourself 8 times. Okay, you can say it whatever speed you want. Just do it roughly the same speed on the inhale hold as the exhale hold. That's about it. Okay. So once again, we inhale fully, and all the inhaling is through the nose and all the exhaling is through the nose. Okay, so we're going to inhale full, and then we're going to, in our mind, we're going to go Waheguru, 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 Waheguru. That's 8. Exhale all the way, hold the breath out, and then we go Waheguru, 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 Waheguru. Except you don't move your hand like I was. So that's it. That's the whole thing. And then you can continue this for whatever period of time that you want to. A good general period of time to do this before sleep is 11 minutes. If you want to get more serious about it, you can do 22 or 31 minutes. And you know, you're just going to get more results. So are there any questions before we start this? Is it clear? Yeah, got it? All right. So we're going to do this now. We already did our invocation. I'm going to set the timer, which is floating around here somewhere. Okay, so we're going to do this for 5 minutes. If you get messed up on it, that's fine. Just start over. Like Dominic said, there's no performance pressure here. This is for learning it, so don't worry about doing it good or bad. This isn't actually a very easy Kriya to do for most people, at least in general. Okay, so we are ready to begin. And start. Eyes are 1/10 open, looking at the sides of the nose. Okay, that's 5 minutes. So there's the second part of this Kriya, which we're going to do a little bit of, which is to listen to this audio for a few minutes as you go to bed. So we'll do that right now. Okay, you get the idea. So I will send you the link to that. If you want to use it, you can. Janine, just somehow give me your email. I'll put mine for you in the chat here. You can put yours in the chat or you can email me. Okay. All right. So would anyone like to share about their experience that they've had doing these two parts of Bandhana Kriya today?
Yeah, I noticed when I started counting that I really wanted to close my eyes. It was quite, you know, I really had to strain to open it. But it's, you know, it's kind of the same, the other exercise that you showed us with the, you know, the eye switching. There's something about that 9/10 and that focusing, that when you can do it, that has some sort of effect. I don't know what you said about the frontal lobe or something, but, you know, I really had to concentrate for the counting to keep the eye exactly at that, you know, like that little 9/10. But you know, after a while, it was, again, I could really feel some sort of effect very fast. It's pretty amazing, I have to say.
Great. Yeah. So, you know, I didn't really get the 9/10 thing, but recently I read something which is that anyway, it's actually training that focus is doing something very important to the brain. So it is part of it. It's a big part of it. So if it's not easy to do it, it probably means we need to do it more, or it's actually good for us to actually do it. So thank you, Stefan. Someone else. This works better when I know how it works. So if you guys can speak up, it'd be helpful.
It was a lot of concentrating, and I wasn't able to keep my eyes open too, or I was opening them too much, and it took me a while to get used to it. But I was yawning a lot, so obviously it's relaxing me.
Good. Yeah. Excellent. Thank you.
I lost track of the 9/10 and had my eyes closed. I didn't realize it till the end, had them closed probably for most of the time. But my eyelids were closed, but my eyes were still gazing down. And I don't know, it just feels like that's an important part of the whole process, like you suggest. And I feel tired afterwards, sleepy.
Good. That's the point. So did something. Thank you, Fran. Anybody else?
I think it's getting easier each
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
You do look different, for real.
Okay.
You look pretty freaked out the first days.
Oh yeah, I must have looked really bad. Yeah, it sounds like.
No, it wasn't like bad. It's
It's
just
like, oh, look at him.
actually, you look younger. Is what you do look. You as you said before, you're a young-looking person.
Yeah.
You definitely look younger than the first time.
Okay, that's
that
right.
I met you on this meetup. So good for you. And okay, guys, so that's Bandhana Kriya. It has a second benefit, which is probably bigger even. I mean, what benefit can be bigger than helping you sleep? Because sleep is critical for everything. But so I won't say bigger, but it's another massive benefit, which is called creating a neutrality of the tattvas. So that's yogic speak for balancing the 5 elements that we're made up out of. And that actually can change your destiny because the majority of people's elements are imbalanced. That's why they have all their problems. Right? Because, essentially on an elemental or energetic level, all the problems are coming from an imbalance in the elements. And so these are kind of like the energetic building blocks of who we are. So to balance those out is very profound. So it's another great benefit of Bandhana Kriya. All right, so let's do another one. You guys ready for another one? So this one is called Yoni Kriya. And Yoni is just another way of spelling yoni, which is the Sanskrit word for the female sexual organ or the womb. You can kind of say it either way. And so, or define it either way, I mean. And so Yoni Kriya is actually simpler than Bandhana Kriya. Share the screen here. Okay, so the way that Yoni Kriya works is, again, we always start with posture. So you're going to sit, as I described before, easy pose or whatever works for you. Just make sure your spine is straight. And the key thing in this particular Kriya, the key thing is the mudra, the hand position. So I'm going to describe that to you. So the first thing I'm going to show you is that you're going to put your hand like this. Okay? So you're going to keep these 3 fingers bunched together, and the other 2 are going to be separated out. So you're going to make both hands like this. Okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to join them together from this line, from the pinky through the heel of the hand to the thumb is all going to be touching together like this. Okay? Try to reduce the amount of gaps. Don't force yourself. Don't hurt your hands. Over time, it'll become more. So you want to end up so that these 2 bunches of 3s are sticking out like this at roughly a 60-degree angle. And then you're going to put that, if you try to hold it up, it's going to hurt. But you want to have it out like this. So it's not parallel to the floor. It's not way up like this. It's just kind of out like at say 15 degrees above, parallel to the floor. So your elbows are just relaxedly at your sides. And then this thing is pointing out like this. So from this side, it's going to look like this. So this space here is the creative womb. this space you made with your hands, and that's the female principle, and then the thumbs is the male or phallic principle. So, and this is the called the cave of organic and inorganic growth. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I think it just means all kinds of growth. All right, so so there is no particular there's no mantra with this one, and the eyes are closed, so it's going to be a little bit easier. You don't have to worry about the 1/10, 9/10 thing. All right, the key thing is we're going to hold this position, and then we're going to do the following breathing pattern. So you inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Then you inhale through the mouth and exhale through the nose. So that's the pattern with one variation. When you're inhaling through the mouth, you're going to make an O shape with your mouth. Okay? So you can inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, inhale through the O-shaped mouth, exhale through the nose. So when you exhale through the mouth, you're not making the O shape. It's just regular. So inhale through the nose, exhale through the regular mouth, inhale through O-shaped mouth, exhale through the nose. That's it right there. So you just keep repeating that breathing practice for the whole time period. So do we have any questions before we start? Okay, so we're going to do this one for 3 minutes. And begin. Inhale nose. Exhale regular mouth. Inhale O-shaped mouth. Exhale nose. Eyes closed and continue. Okay, that's our 3 minutes. Let's just take a minute or two to just sit with their eyes closed, doing nothing. Okay, take your own time to come back.
Question
Question?
about the hands.
Yeah.
Do they have to be held up against the body? Do the wrists have to be against the body?
Oh, no, 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 no. The wrist should not be against the body at all.
Oh, okay.
It's out here like this. Not in
I
here like
was
this.
holding it close to me, so that
No,
was getting
no.
hard.
But just put your elbows here naturally.
Yeah.
Just no squeezing. Just
Right.
boom. There's
Okay.
my elbows, and it's
Elbows
just right
against
here
the
like
body.
this.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Don't. That's gonna hurt you. Just it's out
Great.
here like that. So what's happening with this is that you're tuning into the womb of creation. I think why the side effect is sleeping is because it's this extremely yin practice. You're going deep into the darkness. So the secondary benefit is that you're tapping creation. So that can create a lot of changes in your life in a general fashion as well. But you can just do it for sleep and just let any other benefits accrue to you. Any comments, questions about what you've experienced? Anyone want to share what's happened to them in that 3-minute practice?
Feel relaxed.
Good. Perfect.
The sound of the breath always reminds me of someone sleeping. Like it almost sounds like either like if you're dreaming about sleeping or somebody sleeping in a movie, or like the sound of just a deep relaxed breath like that it doesn't really remind me of anything else. It doesn't sound like meditative breath. It doesn't sound like exercise breath. It doesn't sound like ordinary breath. It sounds like somebody who's already asleep and is sleeping very deeply. That's what it reminds me of.
Wow. Interesting. So maybe what this is doing is it's putting you into a breathing, sleeping type of pattern. So then, you're preparing for sleep that way. That's awesome. That reminds me, there's a whole nother thing I wanted to get into in this meetup. So maybe we'll do it next week, which is a yogic sleep practice, which is not a kriya. It's called Yoga Nidra. And that is really profound. So we can do some Yoga Nidra next time. Very, very awesome. It's not specifically, anyway, we'll get into it next week. But that's its whole universe by itself. Anybody else? Okay. I think that's a good stopping point. We did a bunch today. Next week, we can cover Shabad Kriya and briefly Well, we'll definitely do Yoga Nidra. We'll see about Shabbat Kriya maybe the week after. Yoga Nidra could take up the whole time. Any requests? Feedback?
You know, after last week, I mean, I was researching a little bit, you know, the yoga bhajan fight and stuff. I mean, there's so many kriyas. I mean, when I look for something specific like pain or whatever, you know, some other issues, you know, how are you picking your kriyas? Did you went through a course, or do you have a specific process of picking something and experimenting with that, or?
Well, it's a number of things. I have done quite a bit of Kundalini Yoga and have had some personal Kundalini Yoga teachers that I practice with directly. And I mean, I've gone to some workshops, but most of it was one-on-one with the teachers, like in 4 a.m, practicing with them. And but I mean, we weren't practicing sleep kriyas. What's happening right now is something's been awakened in me about Kundalini Yoga, and basically what I'm following the method of, as soon as I learn it, I'm teaching it. Yeah, so I'm not waiting for any kind of certification or you know, stamp of approval. I'm just like, okay, well, and a lot of this stuff gets more powerful if you teach it. So doing it in a group is more effective. And yeah, so I have a whole bunch of the sleep ones. I'm just kind of trying to start with the easier ones. So I'm picking these. The ones I'm picking, if that's the question, is Bandhana and Unikriyas because I use them and because I think they're easy to start with.
Okay.
So that's kind of the criteria so far. And the criteria for the subconscious clearing class is that it needs to be something that will work quickly.
Right.
So I want people to get a tangible result in the class. So that's kind of why I'm picking those ones.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you very much, David.
Yeah, you're welcome. Glad you're here. So it's a mind-blowing privilege to share this stuff with you guys. If you do it, I'm sure you're going to see the results. And I just want to encourage you to, you know, commit to it for X number of days and then see what happens. You know, 40 days is a good number to just, you know, stick onto it. Work up to 11 minutes if you can on a practice and go for it. And you'll see what happens. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for doing this, David. Very good.
Thank you, guys.
All right. See you next week. Thanks.
Yeah.
A lot.
See you soon.
Thanks again.